Welcome. Everybody wants to take their seats. We can grab a it's your coffee. Hello, so nice to see everybody. Welcome and thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Catherine Fawcett, the Executive Director of the Institute for Family Business, otherwise known as IFOB. We have Brooke Stewart, our Director of Communications here, and she'll be our tech expert here. So welcome to all of you in person and all of you on Zoom. And welcome to our board members. Can you raise your hand if you're here or past or present board members? Lovely to have you. Thank you. So we want to thank our sponsors, Jean Ardito from Seaport Credit Union, Todd Batchelder from Mascoma Bank, George Babu Daguro Makoko. I forgot to ask you how to say that right. So there we go. From Njambo, Africa, and Maine Biz. In a few minutes, I'll invite them up to say a few words. We also want to thank Seth Weber and Barry Dunn for this beautiful facility that allows us to be in person and also on Zoom. We're recording this program for you. Everybody who's come will get a copy of that and resources too. And we'll also put it on a new website that's hopefully coming tomorrow. So we'll see. We'll also share the slides with you. Corinne has interesting slides and some resources. And we want to make this an interactive program. So please do send your questions in the chat to Brooke if you're on Zoom. And please just raise your hand or shout out if you're in person. As many of you know, the IFOB is a nonprofit that helps family businesses succeed, and they fuel our local economy. So we're offering over 50 programs this year, and many of you see my handy little hierarchy chart. Everything is green is good. You can all come to. So there are some of those out front, and we'd love to have you come and join us. Many of our educational programs are handled right here. We have them hybrid, and then we also have a lot of fun social programs as well. So we have our Women's Wine and Nine, which just sold out. We teach women how to play golf. They don't let us let the men in, but they can come to the scramble, and it's a 9-hole scramble, and we do have room for that on July 11th. I know some of you are already signed up for that. We have a Family Fun Festival on July 27th. The only day that it rained in our drought last time was when we had our Family Fun Festival. We didn't have a bouncy house, but we have rain dates, and we have a great bouncy house this year, no problem. And our Maine Family Business Awards here are on October 18th. So we're doing a complete overhaul of our website, and I'm becoming Pinocchio because I tell everybody, oh, it's coming soon, it's coming soon. It's 2 days, it's 2 days, it's 2 days. So now the 2 days is really maybe tomorrow, which will be really exciting. So that will have all of our programs and things, and if you've renewed, you'll be put through. If you're not, you'll get a nice email about us all, so it'll be fun. So our programs are for all your employees, so we invite everyone, as many as they can come. And if they aren't members, no worries, we just love to have people come and participate. So on Monday, May 1st, on Monday, it's a big week for us next week. We're going to open our nominations for the 23rd Annual Maine Family Business Awards. Last year, we had 191 nominations, 32 semifinalists, 25 finalists, and 7 winners. And it's like the Oscars, and they come live, and they don't know if they won. And we make grown men cry because they don't know if they're gonna do it. And then they get surprised, and then they're like, oh, and it's like, and it's really short speeches because they haven't prepared them. So it's excellent. It's really fun. So if you nominate a family business, they'll know that you recognize their excellence. They don't need to be members. And if they fill out the application and they're not members, they get a free membership to the Institute for the rest of the year and 2 tickets to the awards night. And we're having a really fun awards night. We have a secret location that we're not allowed to tell you about. It's really cool. It's in Freeport, so that's a little hint. And we will have our first generation award winners last year, the Maine Cattle Masters. So they're going to be fun, and we'll have Amanda Hill, and we'll have lots of great time. So please nominate the family business. It's a wonderful night to celebrate, and we'll have yummy food because Blue Elephant Events and Catering is going to cater it. So it'll be more like a cocktail and a fun piece, so it'll be really nice. So now today, we're in our second how-tos for our educational program featuring a discussion on immigrant family businesses. We'll have several guests in the audience. One of my favorite guests here is my father, retired Ambassador Michael Molisho, who took us all over with our amazing family business experience. Lived and traveled in Russia, West Africa, Australia, the Pacific, and in and out of Washington, D.C., working in embassies around the world. He has some of his books out there. I'm building onto my home to bring my mom and dad up to my house on Ruth Day, and he has an extensive library. So all the books are fitting. So there are some out here, so please be happy to take them. It's what he learned and studied when we were in, he was in Zimbabwe or Rhodesia before I was born. He was in Togo on his launch, and then we lived in the Gambia, West Africa. So nice to have you all here. I know firsthand what it's like to arrive in a country where you don't speak the language, the customs and culture are foreign, and the world you've known has been turned upside down. So I wanted to invite those of you who have also traveled here to share this experience. Our second guest is Mahmoud Omar over here, who is the Refugee and Immigrant Employment Coordinator for the Jewish Community Alliance of Southern Maine. I thought ours was the Institute of Family-Owned Business. Mahmoud was the unit interpreter for the U.S. Forces for Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2009 to 2010, and he served with my brother-in-law, retired Army Colonel Mark Leahy, who's from Lewiston. 6 years ago, Mark helped Mahmoud immigrate to Poland, where he became a member of our family. And we also proudly attended his U.S. citizenship ceremony and oath this past fall. So welcome, Mahmoud. In the Immigrant Welcome Center, we have Amberlynn Esperando, who's the secretary. So thank you for coming. And also Mr. Banks, sponsor, so thank you. And so now to our guest speakers. So we have Karim Durdag, President and Chief Operating Officer at GWI and founder and managing partner of the Industry. Karim and I worked together when I was a chamber executive in Bay Harbor, and he worked at right now, and we had a very fun awards night. Karim was the speaker. So he's going to moderate the discussion. We have Jean Ardito, President and CEO of Seaport Credit Union, and the Indus Fund and sponsor of the event. We have Michael Molisho, founder and CEO of Maine Med Cleaning Services and a member of the IFOB. He's going to tell you about some of his experiences with us. And Lucie Narukundo, founder and chief executive officer of the Moriah Store. Towards the end of this program, we ask you please fill out a quick survey for those of you in person. We have some fun door prizes that Seaport Credit Union will be giving to you. So we'll pull those.
By mail.
By mail. I'm like, I have to basketball. He will have some of us. And let me see. And for those of you on Zoom, we'll put it in the chat. Please do fill that out because it's how we got here today. We take our surveys very seriously and look to curate our programs each time. So now to hear from our sponsors. Maine Business was not able to come today, so they asked me to read this. So for those of you who may not be familiar with Maine Biz is Maine's premier statewide business news source, delivering news, analysis, and information about Maine's business community via its website, mainebiz.biz. Through their e-newsletter, events, and their award-winning flagship publication that is published every 2 weeks, Maine Biz has been informing, engaging, and connecting the Maine business community for over 25 years. So we now have Todd Batchelor from Mascoma Bay, George Makoko from Ojambo, Africa, and Jean Ardito. So I will invite Todd up, and then George, and then we'll toss it to Corinne. So thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Very quickly, we're honored to co-sponsor today with Seaport. I think, as a community bank and a certified B Corp at Mascoma, we're always asking ourselves, what can we do to better serve the communities in which we live and work? And I've got to hand it to Gene. He's done obviously a wonderful. He and his team have done a wonderful job with Maine's immigrant community. And hats off to Karim for starting the Indus Fund and getting that launched. And excited to be hearing Michael and Lucie, your stories. So last but not least, thanks Catherine and Brooke and IFOB for some ongoing excellent programming. So thanks.
is George Makoko, and I'm the publisher of Java Africa. It's a newspaper that is published in 7 different languages, including English, French, Swahili, Kinyarwanda, Somali, Portuguese, and Spanish. So, originally from DRC Congo, and I moved here in 2002. When I came here, I could not speak English because we spoke French in DRC Congo. And I was alone, and I didn't have a family. And I started attending USM and doing ESL. And I realized how difficult it was to start learning a new English, or a new language. And so, long story short, in 2002, if you were here in Portland, you could see how less diverse it was in 2002. I knew people from Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi. I knew them where they live and if they had kids and all of them. That's not now, you can't even count. But in 2006 and 2007, when many people start coming from Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi, and I was working at Avesta Housing at that time, I realized how difficult it was for them to navigate the system and not knowing English. So the idea of doing the newspaper came in my mind. But I didn't know how to do it, and I had the idea for more than 1 year and started reaching to people that I knew on how to do it. And thanks to God, I was able to meet somebody who had a little bit of background in doing writing. So long story short, in 2018, we launched Java Africa as we know it now. So thanks to some of the our supporters from James here from Seaport Credit Union, they were our first sponsors, and I cannot thank them enough. But thank you to Catherine for inviting me here and being part of this conversation. When I look at the title, and this morning as we speak now, you all know what's happening in Sudan. And I was listening to public radio and talking about how people are having difficulties in leaving the country. One of the ladies I heard this morning, she was saying that I'm now out of the houseway, I'm kind of safe, because she was able to flee Khartoum and go into a safe place. And she said, I now regret why I left my home, because she's realizing how difficult it is to leave your home. And she said, I had my furniture, I had everything in my house, and now I'm just here alone with nothing. And I have to start all over again. So for the immigrant family business owners who are here, they go through a lot. So they lose everything, completely everything, and they come here and they start all over again, and they start building their lives up. It takes courage to go through that process. And I always tell American people, those who are born here, who have family members here, who can go to the grave and visit their grandpa and grandpa's graves, you don't know how lucky you are. And I'm glad I'm with some French speakers here who say that there's a saying that says that you don't know what you lose unless you don't know what you have. You don't value what you have unless you've lost it. So for those who you gotta just appreciate the fact that these people, or people who are here, new business owners from the immigrant community, it takes a lot of courage. So I'm glad I'm participating into this, and just thanking those who own businesses. They're just contributors like anybody else. They pay taxes, they pay a lot of, they contribute today and are reaching our community as we know it. So thank you, and if there's any questions after, I'm here, and I just appreciate to be here. Thank you.
It is not often I am asked to be on a panel where the entity is devoted to making grown men cry. I think that's admirable.
Thank you.
I do. So my name is Kerem Durda, and just by way of introduction, GWI builds fiber optic networks, brings internet to all over Maine and Vermont, and we're devoted to destroying monopolies. So that's on the GWI side. On the Indus Fund side, my colleague and dear friend in crime is here with me. What we do is we offer microloans to Maine immigrant business owners. And so I and my insanity, together with friends, started this fund. We partnered up with Seaport, and we're up to 28 loans. And it's only for Maine immigrant business owners. And you may say, why? Similar to what George has indicated, sometimes we take for granted our level of access or our level of capability and expertise and networking. Well, when you've arrived here like a baby born out of another mother's womb, you don't have those things. So you need a little help. And banks are one of the levers of economic development and democracy in the entire world. There are 4 things that exist in every community in the state of Maine: bank, a post office, school, and library. So if you can figure out a way to lever those things for economic development, it becomes a pretty happy day. And so when there's a Maine immigrant business owner who wants to be able to start something or continue something, and they need some level of financial assistance, a loan, it's really hard because they don't know anybody. And because they don't know anybody, the banks feel that, hey, how do I get involved and how do I get to know them? So it's all about risk mitigation. And so what we do is we help the bank essentially take that risk and to prove everybody that the Maine immigrant business owner is actually a worthy participant in society. And that if they can service one little micro loan, then they can service another one. And before you know it, then they're servicing loans that are worth in the millions. And so now we're starting to create intergenerational wealth, ownership. You can buy a car, a house, afford kids to be able to go to college. This is a long marathon, very long marathon, but Jean and I, and together with a whole bunch of very close friends, we're committed to doing this so that in 20, 30 years, the conversation is not going to be something that I'm going to start over here, but something to actually take it for granted. And there's actually great history in the state of Maine for that. 25 years ago, when I was fortunate enough to come to Maine, the word entrepreneurship, startup, growth, Jacques is here, my dear friend. Those were words that were, we only say those things in the Silicon Valley area or in Route 128 in Waltham. Literally, the number of investors and the number of startups, tech startups, that was around in Maine in 25 years ago was literally 4. And I mean 4 total investors, 4 total startups. Now it is look around. It is part of our vocabulary. Kids, professionals, people moving in, people doing things, banks being involved, private equity funds. I mean, you're talking an entire ecosystem that was born in over 25 years. So I think it's time for revision 2.0. We need to now do that and be inclusive and be diverse and be equal about this. So that's the way, my brain tends to work in terms of levers. So I just want to set the stage a little bit. And one of the ways I try to do that is at least show what not to do. So, so one of the things, and you have to accept my great admiration for this group that is here and everybody that's online. Small businesses, this, but I'm going to say this and thank you for it, is the backbone of the economy. It is the absolute backbone of the economy. In the state of Maine, the statistics are very clear. 77 to 80% of the businesses in the state of Maine are employee base of 20 or less. The GDP of Maine is around 60 billion, I believe. So just think about the power small businesses have. And then there's a subset of those small businesses which are family owned, which is a very, very large subset. So happy news, guys. You guys are in charge of the economy. So what not to do if you want to be inclusive or diverse? So I start by saying, don't be like Bob Dylan. And now you may say, why Bob Dylan? Observe. So Bob Dylan was invited to be, one of the singers on We Are the World. This is actual footage of what Bob is doing while people are singing. He's not doing anything.
Now, granted, he's won the Nobel Prize in Literature, granted, one of the best presidents of the history, but he's not doing squat. He's going. I mean, he's got he may not even know the words. Meanwhile, she's going and saying to him, like, what is wrong with you? Bob Dylan.
So, don't just assume. Don't just think everything is just gonna work out. Get involved, lean in, talk to people, call people, get to meetings, get to coffee, talk about family and soccer and education with members of a community that you may not have wanted to do so because you were fearful. Well, guess what?
You mean football?
I said, yes, John. If you want to go there, John. So I was Turkish. I'm Turkish and grew up in Pakistan. So soccer, I live and breathe. So here we have Jacques, his country, great game. But you got to admit, man, Messi deserved it. He's deserved it. So now we can talk about PSG and Man United and all those stuff, but that's another conversation for another. But you see what just happened? You see just what happened? It's a common denominator. And in the state of Maine, we're learning, we're reaching out and trying to understand what does it mean to just talk to people we may never have had the occasion to talk to. There are 1.3 million in the state of Maine. The size of the state of Maine is about the size of Bangladesh, which has 180 million souls. So I know it's a little hard because we're not as dense in terms of density, but that doesn't mean we can't reach out and not be like Bob, right? So there are ways to just not be fearful. So I urge you not to be fearful. Talk about stuff that's a common denominator to humanity. And that's why I do think that the time is now. We talk about democracy, we talk about our right to assert, we talk about our right to be involved. It is now. The consequences and the implications of the decisions that you are going to make today in terms of your intentionality to be inclusive, to be equal, and we're going to listen to stories from Michael and Lucie about what does it mean to be an immigrant that is now part of society. We're not the other. It's not the you, it's the us. So we have to be able to be brave enough to say, the time is at hand, and how do we lean into this? And it is right. Equal rights doesn't mean less rights for anybody else. It just really does mean equal. So when George talks about how hard is it to actually actualize yourself and be reborn, it doesn't mean that somebody else from Machias or Lewiston that went to the high school system and did that is any less or any more. It just means we're so much more vibrant. 10% of the population in the state of Maine is BIPOC. 10%. It's not 1, it's not 2, it's 10. The birth rate in the state of Maine from the last census, 2020 census, I believe it's 6% or 7% positive is from the BIPOC community. The other community is negative. Our long-term longevity, sustainability, relevance in the 21st century is because and is reliant on us being a full society that's inclusive and diverse. Otherwise, in about 100 years, we won't be. So the implications are large. So equal rights doesn't mean less rights. It also means, to some extent, when we listen to Michael and Lucie, we are trying to find, it's a journey about what does it mean to be us. So here's a little video about what Nike did. This was in 2012, but I absolutely love this video because it's indicative of what we need, the way we need to start thinking.
There are no grand celebrations here, no speeches, no bright lights. But there are great athletes. Somehow we've come to believe that greatness is reserved for the chosen few, for the superstars. The truth is, greatness is for all of us. This is not about lowering expectations. It's about raising them for every last one of us. Because greatness is not in one special place. And it is not in one special person. Greatness is wherever somebody is trying to find it.
I just love that. Let's just go. It's 30 feet high. I don't care. And I think that's what I'm saying. That's what I really want to impress it. It is time. It is time we take that leap and just try to find. I know it's scary. I know it means that we have to step out of our comfort zones. As much as it means for Michael and Lucie to step out of their comfort zone to do the things that they're doing, it is our personal responsibility. And us as a democracy, that we also lean in and talk and try to figure it out, right? Because at the end of the day, we want to be in the middle of Stormtroopers. We want to be like V for Vendetta. If you haven't seen the movie, I urge you to do so. If you haven't read the comic book, I urge you to do so. But we pride ourselves. When I say we, the state of Maine says that we're unique, that we have things that separate us as a unique entity from the other 49 states or other communities. Well, I think we need to live up to that. I don't think we should take it for granted. It's sort of like running a marathon, or there's some friends out here who do triathlons, right? You need to get into a certain rhythm, because if you don't get into rhythm, you will blow apart. And that's what it means. If we really want to be unique, then we need to be inclusive. We need to be diverse. Because if you're not, we will blow apart. So finally, fans of Banksy, I am. I truly believe that what Michael and Lucie are doing is a calling. What you are doing as an Institute of Family-Owned Businesses, as family-owned businesses, it's a calling. You wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't. It's hard, it's nitty, it's gritty. I mean, it's a pain in the butt. It really is. But you are doing it. So it's a calling. If it is a calling, I believe it's our responsibility, ethically, morally, financially, as a society, to be inclusive and diverse and equal. Because it's a common calling. If you make it uncommon, and if you make it sort of divisive, it's not going to work. So along those lines, that's why I just want to have this conversation. I know we're going to start with Michael and Lucie, and I know Jean and I will step in and moderate a little bit, but there are people over here that I want to include in this conversation. So start with the stories, but there'll be questions. Please include yourselves in this conversation. This is not a unilateral, unidirectional, gift of wisdom. This is a conversation, and I think that's a really important thing to remember, because the world around us likes to believe in binary outputs. It's not. It's very nuanced and complex, and the only way we can figure it out is through conversation. So that's how I'm going to start. I do love this thing. I've actually seen this original thing, but there's something to be said for just lowering our fear level and just thinking in terms of grace. That's, and I think that should be, when you want to make grown men cry or grown women cry, just talk about grace and balloons and little girls and hearts, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. So my invitation to Michael is going to be a story. Okay. A story. And I know you're ready to go.
We good.
So you're good. So
No, we good.
We good. So I would love to hear what is your story? And I know, what is your story, but specifically, what have you found in terms of how you want to write your story?
That's a nice question. I love that. Okay, good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Molisho. I'm from Congo, Jersey.
A little closer. Speak louder, like you.
You know I'm speaking.
Oh, I know you.
I'm from Congo, Jersey. I moved in the US 2007. As you remember, because I was born in the Congo, in a decent family. My dad's been a politician. He worked in Mobutu. He been the first minister in Zaire. That's my first story. I grew up in Kinshasa. Our bottom family is seven siblings, and now we lost like two. Now we always now five. And I do my school. In French, we say première, secondaire. That's what we say. Okay. And then after I'm going to finish my school in marketing in Belgium. And then when I'm done over there, I don't think I can find myself over there. I'm saying, you know, that's my experience. I need to bring it back to my country. And when I'm back in Congo, I got a job called Union European. We get like a project, how we taking the trash outside, like we have here, like, or dump, and over there they don't have it. When I bring my project to them, they say, oh, that's be good, we can finish that. And Union European finish that project. After, you know, I try to do something on myself. I'm saying, nah, that's not me, I need to do my thing. And I open a cleaning company, they call it Congo Clean. I'm starting this industry for a long time. And what's a challenge, you know, something you never do. It's like, some people in the Congo, they don't know how to clean. Only thing they know sweeping, you know, when you bring a machine, they don't understand. After to move in the US was a big challenge for me. Because I know how you come from Europe to the school, people to accept you. You talk to the US to do what? I remember when my boss in the Europe told me, you have a good opportunity here. Why do you want to travel everything to go to the US? Yeah, I said, I gotta go, but I don't want to stay here to regret after. Let's go see. Okay. And when we moved here in 2007, I'm living one my sister-in-law's name, Adele. The person I think right now, Adele. She's a superstar. Everybody know her. And my first time I showed up in the house, I almost keep on crying. What am I doing here for? First week, second week, 1 month, I say, nah, I need to go back. I can't handle it. No. Because it was so cold. Very, very cold. And one day my brother called me and said, I was seeing a picture of the old building in the US, you don't say nothing. And I said, bro, I don't know where I am exactly. He said, where? I said, Maine. You keep going to Maine, he said, I can't find a Maine. And when I told him, I said, no, he's in Canada. He's on the US. I said, oh, okay. And my first challenge was language. That's bad part of my whole life. Only thing I see many people laughing when they see your face. They say, everybody like me. And I tried to learn education to learn English. Not easy either. Anything teacher said, I don't listen to nothing. I'm back home, I told her that's not wasting my time. I need to go back to Congo. That's not my thing. One of my friends is in Kennedy, he told me, I need a job. I said, job? For me, I was thinking job like an office, you know, that's where I'm coming from. He said, no. He took me to Baba Food. I said, Baba Food? To do what? He gave me hope, said, no, you need money, you know, get up. My first night in that job, I never cried like a baby like that. I'm crying all night. Second day, I'm not going. No. You don't think me out again? Let's go. I remember the supervisor coming to me, he said, I saw you crying every night. I said, okay. I explained my situation. He said, don't do that for you. That for your kid. If you do that for your kid, you know to pay them. Then I worked for 2 years. And after I said, no, I got to go to school. That's why I'm going to USM. I started to study English, keep going after I do my business. And when I'm done, I can find a job. Nobody can hire me. I said, what am I going to do again? I'm going to Maine Med. They hire me to work in linen. Oh, my supervisor said, I'm not in business. I'm in touch with where? I said, that's all I have here. It's 2012. That's a big challenge again. And one day I come to work, I said, I'm done. I'm done. He said, you quit? I said, yes. That's not me. And that day when I'm back home, I said, I want to start something. And I opened American Cleaning Services. That's my story started. And then right now I'm almost 150 employees. That's a challenge. Challenge for me, like first time to find an office. And when I show up, I said, I need an office. This guy looked at me and said, how much you have? I said, fix rent. And said, deposit. He said, no, I need to rent for 5 years. I said, nobody that's America for it. And I keep going looking, and I found one guy, he gave me a chance. He said, I believe in you. And I can give you a place. And that day, we start to one level 2 employees in my office. I remember I got someone coming from IDEX, was a director over there. He joined my team after 2 months to retirement. I said, why am I doing my business after 2 months? Okay, I don't give up. I follow my dream, like I told Patrick. If everybody say, America dream, me, I don't want to say America dream. It's a dream you make for America. How you can make this be your dream? It's not as America can give you a dream. Work hard, passion, you believe in it. And after when we see American Diamond keep going, it's not easy for come to someone, show up yourself to say, I want to give you your office, I can clean up that. They say, no, I have one company work just almost 30 years ago. How many companies say, only 2 years? They don't trust you. They don't trust. I build this trust with my client. I show them every single day we can do different. It's not because I'm 45 years old, I'm more smart than someone who's 20 years old. I don't think so. It's a quality we job we give us, you got to trust us. And after that, I opened Maine Med Cleaning Services because we certify for quality cleaner for hospital. That's what a challenge. Any hospital can open door for you. That's a big challenge. And I remember one day I went to see this guy, Vice President Maine Med. I told him one thing, remember me, I'm young, whatever. He said, but you never gave me. I said, Michael. He said, how can I help you? I said, listen, I have this, I want to do for you. He looked at me and said, I have my own team, can do that job. I said, I don't think your team do a good job. Then try my team for free. He said, you're going to work for me for free for 2 months? I said, of course, why not? You're not going to lose nothing. I'm going to lose paycheck for my employee. No, you. And that's when I started contract to Maine Med person too. Like I said, last night I worked for them for 5 years. And we get an internet. We have another hospital in Hampshire. We have a management, and we keep going. I'll be here for any question. I have a long story to say about. This is here.
Thank you, Karen, for your introduction. I would like to start by thanking the organizers of these events, and especially for reaching out to me and to express how humbled I am for this incredible opportunity. As Karen said, my name is Lucie Narukundo. I live in Westbrook. I own a grocery store called Moriah Market, located at 364 Cumberland Avenue in Poland. I was born in Congo, DRC. I started high school in Uvira town at Liceo Moja, where I was a volunteer at the hospital and orphanage. After I fled the country in Congo, I got a chance to start university at UMK in Kigali, Rwanda, where I finished in sociology major. You know what? I did my university with 9 children. After university, I worked in many NGOs specialized in gender, trauma healing, counseling, and peace building. I moved to United States in 2010 after I fled my country for safety. Before I get in a work permit, I was a volunteer. I was a hospice volunteer, and even I started working, I continued volunteering. My first job was at a Holiday Inn as a housekeeper. Then, a personal support specialist at Poland Center for Assisted Living. After, at the community partner as a director support specialist. In 2015, I started my own business called Moriah Markets in Poland. It's located at 364 Cumberland Avenue. I sell African foods, African clothes, you see, like this, and many other non-food products. My dream is to own a huge market, supermarket, as Hannaford, as BJ's, why not as Sam's Club, and I hope I will be there. Then I'm planning, I hope that one day I'm gonna open orphanage somewhere in Congo. That's also my dream. Thank you for everyone. Then if you have questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Morning. This is exciting to be here. Probably why is this white guy here? But it all started, my mother actually emigrated from Italy in 1939 and moved to Providence, Rhode Island. And her parents, my grandparents, never learned to speak English. They worked in Providence mills and bought a 3-family house. And, you know, my mother, eventually, my father moved to Maine, and that's why I'm here. But I learned a lot just being involved with that community, that immigrant community, and saw their struggles. I remember actually went to Providence College, and I lived with my grandmother for 2 years, so a good party space there. But I got a chance to actually see how she lived, and you know, they never actually had a bank account. They did everything with cash, and so those are things, you know, our lives we formulate sort of our strategies based on our experiences, right? So anyway, why I'm here is 20 years ago I came to what was Government Employees Credit Union, and started working as CEO of this small credit union, and changed our name to Seaport with a little C, and because I want to be different, you know, that's important, right? People thought I was crazy with that name, but it's it means a lot to be different. Like as Krim said, you know, you see things differently if you want to be different. So early in my tenure here, I started reaching out to the immigrant community, the New Mainer community, getting involved with nonprofits and supported the community.
And it's been fabulous for Seaport. You know, there was a need there for those banking services that Karim talked about. And so we listened a lot. We listened to the community. We said leaders in the community, people coming in, asking us about, you know, their needs and how to make it easier to get, you know, involved with the community. Obviously, bank accounts are important. And so, because there are ways that people can get in trouble. You see payday lenders and things like that. We wanted them to come to us so that they wouldn't get caught up in that kind of situations. Like a little death spiral if you get caught up in that situation, in those types of accounts. So through the years, we've continued to listen. Some of the best ideas for our Seaport have come from the community. I remember years ago, I was introduced to a gentleman who started the Great Welcome Center. And he said, "Hey, Gene, you need to do something to help us become citizens." So I said, Alon is his name, not Alon. I said, "Well, what do you think that would be?" Well, some sort of a loan product to fund the, you know, all the costs associated with becoming a citizen. So we created the citizenship loan. And very simple, just it was more about the name than anything. It was just basically a personal loan. But it just demonstrated that, you know, you can come to Seaport and get a loan to help you get through that process. It's like $8,000 at the time to go from the beginning to the end. So that has been our sort of involvement with the New Mainer community, and we continue to be involved. It's been phenomenal for us. So for you, you know, small business owners, like how do you grow your business? Think about how you can get involved with different communities and just listen and try to support. It's so important to me, you know, that this community, as Karim said, I don't know where Portland, this region, would be without the New Mainer community. I mean, we would not be where we are. But we need to support them. We continue to do that. So just as far as the Indus Fund is concerned, I mean, one of the things that I like to, what's exciting for me and my colleagues that are here today is just trying to be creative, right? And so Karim came to me and said, "Hey, I got this idea for this fund, Indus Fund." And I said, "Sure, let's figure it out." So we spent some time to try to figure out this great idea of creating this fund that would be backed by a lot of community people who are really backing these loans so that we could offer a low interest rate, you know, micro business loan. And it's been very successful. You know, and it's because of a partnership and an open-mindedness and some courage. We'll see, courage. You know, it can do great things, right? And so, and that just is one of many things that we try to do. The other thing that is important today for businesses is, and this is really not a conscious effort, it just sort of happened, but we've been recognized at Seaport for being a leader in DEI. DEI is a really important area. We received an award a few years ago from the Chamber for that. And it's interesting, it was never intentional what we did. It was just sort of evolved from being involved with the community. So obviously, when you have more and more folks coming into our branches from all parts of the world, it's difficult because of the, you know, because of language challenges and so on. So we got to know people, we started hiring employees from different parts of the world. And if you come into our branches, you will see that our branches look like our membership, right? Because the employees are from the Congo and Rwanda. We have at all different levels and different roles. And it's really improved the fabric of Seaport. I would say, you know, how have we become more successful than us? How have we been different? It's just being open-minded to, you know, and listening and getting involved and taking action, like hiring folks who are phenomenal. They're great employees. we don't even think of it as diversity. We just think of it as, in a way, just good business, right? So that's kind of our story, but I love, you know, these stories, their stories, so important. I just, and the other connection I have is my mother, who was from Italy, married to my father, who was first generation Italian. They opened a Italian restaurant in Augusta, so they were a, you know, family-owned business for a period of time. So it's another connection for that. But anyway, I'm happy to be here and answer any questions you might have as it relates to the subject. So.
Sorry, can you try the other microphone?
Sure.
Sorry.
So let's open it up. Questions, comments? I'm gonna pass the mic, so.
Good morning, my name is Diane Mutagoma. I work for Bernstein Shore as an attorney recruiting and professional development. I was invited, Bernstein Shore Law Firm is part of the IFOB. And I am going now to speak as a very good client of Moriah Store, Lucie's store. I moved to the United States with my family in 2015 from Rwanda, Africa. So getting to know Moriah was from the city of Portland. It was after I had raised a concern of not knowing what to buy when I get to the big stores. As a mother, wife who was building a new kitchen from zero, I remember I was very pregnant, by the way, I was 8 months, with 2 kids, 8 and 6. It would be very difficult for me to go through Hannaford aisles and try to figure out which kind of salt is going to be good for my kitchen. I had never seen Himalaya salt, pink, blue, whatever kind of sea salt, all those types, iodized, non-iodized, all those types of salt I've never seen. Mind you, I had worked for American Embassy for 12 years. I had traveled some countries, but lived in a hotel. But when it came to me now starting a new kitchen, I really struggled to know which kind of oil that I'll even buy, because in my country, I'll only know olive oil and canola oil. But when you see the aisle of oil, my kids would look at me and would be like, pick whatever and let's go. Because I'll take time to read what kind of oil that is going to be suitable for my kitchen, what kind of, any type of food, it will take me double the time for other people. Sometimes I'll even look at someone, be shy to ask, because sometimes you see people in the aisles and they look at you and they are kind of like scared. They look at you in a strange way. So it's very difficult for you to start asking, like, what better option can I pick here? I'll peep and see what they pick, and I'm like, okay, maybe that's the best option. But when I was introduced to Moriah Store, and when I had never met Lucie, but her welcoming smile made me, I think the first time I saw her, she had me sit and gave me passion fruit juice and my kids. That welcome alone, I had never shared it with her, but it meant really a lot. Finding myself in a store that I can use my own language, Kinyarwanda, and getting to see people, getting to see familiar spices that are from African countries, getting to find all those names of familiar foods that I can buy meant a lot for me. And I remember not only buying food, but what you find there is the community, the people that had not known that they are here. When you go there, I remember when I had not yet started working, I used just go there to hang out, just to be able to listen to people who are speaking my own language, or just to be there and talk to Lucia and ask questions. She had been here more many years than I did. So I want to really appreciate her for opening up for the immigrant community and opening that store. It means a lot to us. It means a lot to when you're trying to settle and build your own family. Thank you so much.
Questions? Comments? Oh. Everybody buckle up.
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Amberlyn Esperanza with Mascoma Bank and the Secretary of the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center. Thank you, Kyle and Jean, for all that you do in the community. Your stories, Michael and Lucie, really resonate with me. Just want to tell everyone that my grandmother worked at Barber Foods, and it's literally like working in a freezer. And them coming from a tropical island of the Philippines was really brutal. But
Easy over there.
yeah. So I can't imagine doing it. So my mother came to the Philippines knowing very little English, and her accent was so strong, it was difficult for her to get a job.
Yep.
So she worked at McDonald's for 20 years. 16 of those 20,
Yep.
At year 16, she got an opportunity at Fairchild Semiconductor to be a machine operator. And she worked her way up and finally is recognized as one of their most valued engineers at Texas Instruments now. So 4 years, 4 of those 20, she worked two 40-hour jobs, like 80 hours with 2 girls. I don't know how you could study at university with 9 children. I applaud you for that. So at that turning point, it took a mentor and a friend or colleague to motivate her to take that courage and apply for that job. Did you, Michael and Lucie, have a colleague or friend that motivated you, or what can we do in the community to inspire that next generation of small businesses coming up?
My friend, he pushed me, he showed me my responsibility to live with this country. Is some job you can say, I can't do the job in my life. But he motivated me, he encouraged me, he said, you need money, you need a car. That's the only thing you need to get that stuff. If you go there. Because I never opened like all machine, do sanitation. I don't know how the product you can use for this machine, but I have a car. And we share a car with him. But he work in IDEX. Anytime he coming before he go to work, he say, okay, you drop me off, I have to use my car. Because I started work like 11:30 night. And he done the work like 6 o'clock. Me, I'm done like 7 o'clock. When I'm done, I'm gonna pick up him again. I was like doing the chauffeur thing. And it's a very big challenge. It's a really challenge. Because I remember, as he said, you leave everything, your country, your home, you have everything, you have some people cook for you, you have a chauffeur. And when you're back in different countries, they say, nope, we don't have here. You do yourself. And I can say his name is Kennedy. Always I can say thank you to him because he pushed me. If I am who I am, because of him. I remember again as my manager to Maine Medical Center, his name Clyde. My first day he hired me. He looked me in the face. He said, I see you dreaming so big. Believe it. Yeah, I believe it.
I have a question. What can we do at the Institute or what can we do within the community to help the immigrant family businesses?
That's a nice question, Patrick.
Thank you. Yeah, I said, tell them a little bit about how you got involved with this.
Yeah, I got you guys by Facebook. Because I love Facebook so much. Yeah, that's when I got a lot of contact in different states and different organizations, always on Facebook. When I'm looking, they say you can apply here. I do it, they call me back. They say, okay, you can come that day, you can travel. I say, yeah, always, I can do it. And that's when she do a lot for us. And I keep following everything she was doing. And only thing I can ask for to do, because right now in Maine, we have a lot business, immigrant business in Maine. I remember when I moved here to find a store, like she said, I need to eat African food. You keep on throwing everywhere. You can't find that thing. And that's when we go to Chinese store, say, okay, because it's similar. You're gonna find something, can you mix it? But if you can go to any street, you're gonna see any store, any business, and immigrants, they're doing great. Only thing you guys can do is to help them, to show them good direction, to encourage them to not give up. Because a lot of people are going to give up because of the system. Because I can tell you one little story that was driving me crazy all the time. When you pay employee, after they come to you, they say, you need to pay tax for this. I said, for what? Say, you get, because I start a business, I don't get any grant, any loan. You do this, I do this business for all my saving, you do this, you save, you keep going. And anytime when you go to financial department, ask them, everybody's good, you say, oh yeah, but right now we need to pay like $25,000 for tax. Say, for what? Say, that's my money, that's for tax. That's a challenge like everybody they have and they don't understand. Some people don't know how to apply to get like a license or assurance or for their own business. There's a lot of things you guys need to help them to introduce them how to do it. I'm not only one who have a cleaning business, I'm not only one who have a business. There's a lot of people who have the same business. Sometimes they come to me, they ask me a question, but I'm at my limit. Say, how can you do for this? I say, oh, go to this department to help you. When they go over and they speak all English. That's a challenge. And for business, immigrant businesses, in Africa, we do like different business. It's like you need to pay your tax maybe after a year for everything. Whatever you pay your employees a year, you need to pay. For here, you need to pay anytime you pay employee, you need to keep on paying, just keep on counting all the time. And now you're gonna see a lot of people, they have like a problem in the financial. They don't know how to do it. A lot of business go to debt. How about that? Say, oh, I shut down, I have a lot. I got more loan from him, I can pay. I'm shut up. Question?
Lucie, what do you think?
What do you think about it?
I just want to-
So I don't know where can I start and how can I say. So as Michael said, Africa and America is two different worlds. When I came in this country, when I fled my country, so I get here, when I got here, I was like a blind person. I didn't have any help. As I said, I'm a mother for 9, 5 biologic and 4 adopted. And I left my husband, I left my kids, I was alone. I didn't know anybody. I was not able to speak in English. I know 3 words: good morning, good evening, good night. But I didn't know where can I put good morning? Even good morning is at night, good afternoon, it's in the morning. it was confused. I was a teacher. After the high school, I was a teacher in high school, but in French. I have never heard English, but I heard English when I was in high school. And I went to 2 months to learn English, but it was hard for me and I left. So when I got here, I said, I was crying, all my life was crying. I spent 4 months in the family. So the family didn't know that there is an organization which can help immigrants, they didn't even know that there is a school like adult education. After 4 months, one of my friends, we know each other in the college. She came to me, she knew that I was here. She came to me, said, Lucie, what are you doing? I didn't know that you are here. I said, I'm here since 4 months. What are you doing in this house? They asked to, because I came with 2 clothes. That family was buying for me the clothes. Even to go to that church, I didn't have only 2 clothes. Then said, I'm here, I don't know where can I go. Every night I was crying. I can't say to the family that it's hard for me, but they know. So she took me she just passed away 2 years ago, no, last year. So she took me to the general assistant, said, there you can have help. And the general assistant, they gave us the basic needs. They gave us the food, the voucher for food, the free care, and then they help us to get an apartment. So in there, I got the voucher. I went to the family. They said, I have a voucher. Where did you get it? Said, one of my friends took me to the general assistance. So I'm very thankful for the general assistance. If I didn't have the general assistant, I could not even find an apartment. After getting an apartment, it was hard for me because in the family, it was like a distraction. But in the house, in the apartment, I was alone. I was only crying. About that time, the African people was not allowed, as George said. But when I came, before getting apartments, getting a work permit, I didn't know that American people need help. Because all my life, I did volunteer job in the hospital, in the orphanage. So I didn't know that American people need help. I asked one of my friend, Becky. She was a volunteer at the adult education. We met and she loved me. One day I asked her, Becky, does American people need help? I said, why not? I said, what do you want? I said, I don't know what can I give back for this country. This country did a lot for me. What can I give back? I said, what did you do in Africa? I said, I was volunteering in the hospital. I said, there is one organization, and are you fear for the person who died? I said, no, that I was doing in Africa. I said, there's an organization named Hospice. They take care for the people who have some month to die. I said, yes, I'm able to do it. Said, she took me to the hospice with little English. Then I met the supervisor, said, if you want, you can do it. I did it more than 7 years. And there was my calling. When I'm sitting with somebody who is dying, it's like, I don't know what can I say. And I was happy because I was helping. I said, that's my support for those American. So when I start my business, when I get my work permit, I started the job at the Holiday Inn. It was hard to make 25 beds a day with the supervisor, he's behind you. Did you finish this? Did you finish this? I said, oh my God, what can I do? After 3 months, I said, how can I make beds all day? And then when I went back home, I sleep on the bed without making my bed. I didn't have time to make a bed. In the morning, I wake up to go to make a bed. At night, I'm tired. I had one day off, and one day I have to go to clean my clothes. I have to go for shopping. I said, I'm gonna quit this hard job. And I took a decision to quit. I said, I quit. I didn't have a job. When I went back, I told my friend, I said, I quit. I'm not able to do the hotel. All the time, you see my bed, it's dirty. So how can I spend there making bed and without making mine? I quit. After 4 days, I remember, so how can I pay the rent? What can I do? And I started to have a fear. I said, let me look for another job. And then I got another lady. She helped me to find, to do a training for the PSS. I did a training until I got the job for Poland Center, but it's assisted living. And then there, it was also my calling because I worked with old people and I worked very, I was in my fields. I loved them so much and they loved me. So after that, I said, I can't, it's have been now 5 years. I said, let me look for another job. All those old people, they cried, said, Lucie, who will give me a coffee? How are you gonna leave us? I said, I'm going. I felt so bad when I left the job. So I got another training for person support personalist for the people with mental illness. Even there was my calling. I worked there for 5 years and I was happy. But after that, so many immigrants start to come. Then they complain about food. Even me, I was complaining about how, American food has sugar. In beans, they have sugar. In everything. And we didn't have a chance to get sugar unless it's a rich family. Then one lady who has a store, Somalian lady, it's there I was going to buy food. And then I said, make this store. Then, when my family came 5 years ago, my husband was not able to speak English. He was behind me. I didn't know 3 words, but him, he was not even know 1 word. So I said, what can I do with this husband? He will stay home only watching TV, and I had 2 jobs. So I got mad. I said, but I didn't say to him, but he's a good husband. We are together since 35 to 37 years. I said, what can I do with this husband? I got a fear. And he was almost depressed. How can I stay home? This is the life we're gonna pass through. So what can I do? As a Christian, I prayed God. I said, God, what can I do? You know, if my husband stay home and I'm tired, sometimes we can have issues. If I have issues with my husband, I'm gonna have issues with my kids. How can I make a barrier for these issues? I prayed God, I said, God, please help me. Then, when I saw the lady with the store, I said, maybe if I do African store, we can work together with my husband. I don't want my husband to stay home. So the idea came from there. And then, when I see offices and some business like Hannaford, I said, how can I keep working for others people? How can I make my own business? So that business has 3 goals. Three goals. To have money, to work by myself, to help immigrants get their food, and then to help my husband to get a job.
We have someone on Zoom, and then George has a question.
Yeah,
This one.
Amo, Makobo, I believe it is. Can you, we'll give it a try. I think you're off of mute, so if you want to go ahead and talk, you should be all set.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
fine.
perfect.
It's totally fine.
Okay,
It's great.
Amos?
Great.
Yes, hello?
There he is.
Yeah, so I think it will be a little difficult to hear me very well. So I'm Amos. I've been in Congo. I'm from Congo DRC. I've been here in Maine 8 years. So we just talk about a business. Since I came here, I see immigration, they still go up. The immigration will go up, but we have a difficult to find some supply like food, most like vegetables. So during the pandemic, COVID pandemic, I got sick. I got COVID. It was very difficult to find the vegetables because all the border was closed. So that time I started reading, learning a lot of things because I was stay home. I got idea. In Africa, we have everything. So I grow up in the vegetables like in the farm. So I was thinking to grow the vegetables here in the Maine to make the people to have more supply, to be safety and healthy. That's idea. I have my goal. So I start already to work in the cultivating community in farmers. So they give me like a little free land that I use. So I am thinking to go to have more land and to go to raise a lot of vegetables for the community. So I think that's it for today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I see Moriah, Mongizo, everything they said is true and I love it. When it became difficult to speak English, anything, just use interpret, anything. So, oh my God. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
One thing that I want to clarify, within the immigrant community, there are different categories of people. The people who are very well educated, master's degrees in doctors and pharmacists, and people who had occupied high ranked positions back home. That's the number one, if I can just, well, that's number one category. There are also people who did not get a chance to be educated within the immigrant community. And so when those two categories shift from, wherever they're coming from to here in America, they go through different experiences. And I think my sense when Mike was talking and Lucie, and I could relate to them because when I got here in 2002, I also worked at Baba Food. And I'll tell you one story. So I had a friend of mine who was a pharmacist, very smart guy. We went to school together in the National University of Rwanda. He was like really A student all over the years that he did there. And I think Lucie will know him. He's now working in Alaska and he's the director for huge department where he supervises hundreds of employees. He's also a PhD now. He goes around and teaching pharmacy in different schools here in the US and also in Africa. And I'll tell one story. So his supervisor approached him because he was working in midroom, was like a number one line where you supply all the chains of the whole company, of the whole industry. So the guy approached me and said, "Do you know how to write?" And he got so mad because he was, the guy, the supervisor had no idea who this guy was, and he had no idea about his background, but he was assuming that this guy was working in a factory, he probably didn't go to school because he couldn't speak English at that time. So his assumption was that I'm dealing with somebody who's probably not educated. All he knows is just dumping chickens into the grinder, and that's all he knows. And then when he approached me and said, "Do you know how to write?" He got so mad, and I thought, "Why are you so mad? The guy doesn't know you. You should probably explain, tell him, I know how to write. I went to school, I'm a pharmacist." So that he understand that you're educated, and therefore you should not just take for granted that you're not educated. So the gap, the miscommunication there could happen, and the conflict would arise and all other things. But what I'm saying, my point is that the uneducated people, when they arrive here from countries that where they could not find a job, and when they got a job at Holiday Inn, Papa Food, or other, they're so happy because they can make money and support their families, not only here, but even back home. So you can see the struggle here.
Yep.
For the educated people, they're just the conflict within themselves for finding where am I now? Who am I? And when I'm going to make it again and sit in an office where I can do, intellectual job and so on. So they are going through different kinds of experiences compared to the other one who's just here and happy to find their jobs. So I just want to clarify that. And as we write in our newspaper, we always make sure that before I think Karim mentioned this, that don't be afraid of engaging people and asking them questions in a very nice way. Sometimes the questions that they ask you, you get mad. I used to be very upset when people ask me where you from, and I'll tell them, "Dearest Congo," and they say, "Where's Congo?" And I say, "Oh my goodness, how come they don't know Congo?" To me, I was thinking everybody should know about Congo, but they don't know about Congo. So, and then later on, I realized, I'm dealing with people who never experienced people from other side of the world. Therefore, I should be inclined to listen to them and know where they're coming from, and meet somewhere where you can have a very nice conversation. So I can go on and on, but just,
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you all very much for coming and being a part of this. Thank you to our sponsors and our speakers. You're welcome to stay and have a little bit more networking time. Jean promises 3 fabulous door prizes. So we also have a survey on the table. If you didn't get one, but we have them over here. We'd love your input and your thoughts and and I'll run around with this. If you don't have a name tag, a business card, you can fold your name tag in half and put it in, and we can give some nice prizes. Are there any other final questions or thoughts or like I said, yes, somebody.
Or just the speakers, if you guys could just stay to get.
Brooke wants us to get a picture, so I was forgetting that. So, Aisha.
Excellent morning, everyone. My name is Aisha Ahmed. I'm from East Africa, Ethiopia. So your story motivates me so much. When I came to US in 1995, there was no one like me, Muslim, Black, you name it. So I heard you say my Dami country. My husband has a cleaning business. He's leaving Dami country, a real estate business and transportation. Also listening to your story, I'm a mother, going to school while I'm raising my kids. And to make it short, I've been in the banking industry since 2004. And also to make it related to you, we the community, the immigrant community, do so much to the community, to the US. And I do like what you say. What can we do to this community? They're so nice, especially Maine's are the best state to live in. I mean, we're nice. We're like, if you are going on the street, they're like, "Oh, how are you, Aisha?" That's all you have to say. They'll give you 20 minutes to talk to you. Go to New York, in Boston, no one will say hi to you. So Maine are such a great state to help you wherever you want. And at the same time, not only Maine in America, without the opportunity, he could be homeless, he could be a doctor. Dedication, working hard. So listening to your story, most of immigrants are working in barber foods. My husband did, he did not like it, he got out of the industry. Now he's doing his own business. I applied there, they told me I'm not qualified. I guess I was weak to hear whatever pound their requirements, which is good. So also what my brother's saying is, let's not be afraid to talk to immigrants. Talk to them, hello, how are you? What can I do to help you? Some word like for the Muslim, you can say salam, like you can say shalom for the Jewish community. So I'm saying is like when you are going to the public, groceries, coffee shop, it's okay to talk to them. There are so many immigrants who is so qualified for the job, for all kind of industry, but they are afraid. Where do you give the courage? I mean, we can talk after the programs done. Like, what was like the moment? I hear you saying your faith, the kids, we all have that. We are the same in here. Either you're American, African, we are a mother, we are a sister, we're a brother, we want nothing but better for our families. So kudos, congratulations. Also, thank you for sponsoring. This is awesome. I work at Andros-Kagan Bank as a personal banker, community outreach. Why Andros-Kagan Bank? It's all about me. That's why I'm doing it. We just launched a program called Ijara. What it is to make for the Muslim community to have their own home with halal. Halal means it is based on Islamic rule. So I'm excited to be part of the ambassador of that. We'll talk more. So helping the immigrant community, having people like diversity is a big deal. So I just want to say thank you, kudos, and encourage everyone around you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, thank you. I will run around and grab the door prizes for people, and we have surveys. And thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you for sponsoring it. And we have our nominations. They're going to open up for our awards. So we'd love to have you nominate some family businesses. They don't need to be members of the institute. If they complete the application, we can help. Brooke can help. We help Michael with his application. So if anybody who needs any help with that, please let us know. And
Always, I will
and
do
come
it.
and participate in our programs. So we'd love to have you. Thank you.